So in these next couple of examples, we're going to be working backwards from what we've been doing previously. Now we've been given the circumference, so the distance round the outside of the circle is 23 centimeters, and we want to work out from that the radius. So I'll start by looking at the formula that we've got that connects the two. So the circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius, 2 pi r there, which is fine, and this is what we're going to carry on using, but we need to appreciate now that because it's the r we want to find, we're going to have to do some rearranging of this equation. So there's a couple of different ways that we can approach this. You'll see plenty of them over the course of your time doing maths. We're going to take this approach. I'm going to start by substituting in the 23 for the circumference. So we get for our equation 23 equals 2 pi times r. Okay, so now we want to work out the radius, which means we need to get the radius on its own in this equation. So we just need to get rid of the 2 and the pi. The 2 will be nice and straightforward. We'll just, if it's all been multiplied by 2, dividing by 2 will cancel it off that side. So we divide this side by 2, and we'll be left then, we won't have that 2 times anymore. We'll just have pi r on this side. On this side, we'll divide the 23 by 2 as well to keep it balanced. So 23 divided by 2 will be 11.5. Now dealing with the pi, so this is pi times r, and remember pi is just a number. It looks funny, but it is still just a number. So, as we did with the 2, we can also divide by that pi, like so. This will be a little bit more tricky, so let's just write this down for the moment. It's going to be 11.5 divided by pi equals r. And so because we can't work with that precisely, let's stick this in the calculator at this point in time. So we'll just get 11.5 divided by pi, using our pi button there, hit equals, and there we have a value for our radius. So as I've been doing previously, I'll take that to 2 decimal places, I think. That's giving me 3.66 for the radius. So that's the radius is equal to 3.66. And just thinking about units very carefully, we've got the circumference was in centimeters, the circumference is a length, the radius is also a length, so that radius will be in centimeters as well. We'll just look at another example as well. This time we've been given the area and we want to find the diameter. So again, we have a formula for the area. It's the area of a circle is equal to pi multiplied by the radius squared. So this isn't quite what we want at the moment, because we want something connecting the area and the diameter. We've got something that connects the area and the radius. But thinking ahead, we can remember that the diameter is just 2 lots of the radius. So once we've solved for the radius, we'll be able to multiply it by 2, and that will give us our answer for our diameter. So going at, as we did previously, we've got 115 to plug in for the area. So it's going to be 115 equals pi multiplied by r squared. Now we need to undo these operations around the radius, get that radius on its own. And thinking about what we've got going on here, remember we're working in reverse because we're trying to pull everything out. So we need to do the opposite of BIDMAS. We need to work backwards through our BIDMAS, through our order of operations. So if we'd normally start with the squaring and then multiply by things, to undo all of this, we need to start by undoing the multiplication, and then we can undo that power, we can undo the squaring there. So to undo the multiplication, we will divide. Divide by pi, which we've done before. So that's 115 divided by pi is going to equal r squared. Now we can do this on the calculator. 115 divided by pi. And we'll get 115 divided by pi equals that. And a little problem we have then with this number here is obviously it's got this long string of decimal places, which is, in fact, because it's divided by pi, that series of decimal values is going to go on forever and forever and forever. We could round at this stage, but that potentially causes us some problems because we still have more calculations to do. And if we round too much now, then that's going to mean that we aren't working with as accurate a number as we could do, and that's going to cause us rounding errors later on. So there's a couple of approaches we can take to this. Potentially, we can just leave this number in our calculator. That's what I'm going to do now. If we did have to write it down, though, we'd want to write it down to a number of decimal places greater than the number of decimal places we're going to have in our answer. So up till now, I've been doing answers to 2 decimal places. So here I'd probably keep, if I was going to write this whole thing down, I'd probably keep at least, I'd say 5 decimal places just to be on the safe side. So I'd write down 36.60563 or 564 for my temporary answer at this point in time. However, it should be possible for me to keep this in the calculator because I'm just going to keep doing operations to that number, and so then I don't have to round it at all. So let's leave that as it is at the moment, 36.61-ish. Looking back here then, we've sorted out the pi there. It's no longer pi times the r squared. We now need to sort out the r squared. So if it's been squared, the opposite of that is going to be square rooting. And so I'll do that to both sides of the equation. On this side, I will get r just on its own there, and on this side I'll get the square root of that number that's in my calculator. Let's just leave it like this for the moment, 115 divided by pi. So I can do that calculation now. Let's pop that in here. So we've already got that number there, so I just need to square root it, and there we go, 6.05, and so on and so forth. I'm going to leave that there for the moment though, because this is still not my answer. My answer, I want the diameter, whereas at the moment I've calculated the radius. So using this little equation here, we see that the diameter needs to be 2 times the radius. So I'm going to take this number finally and multiply that by 2. It equals, and that now is my answer for the diameter. I'm going to, as I said, round it to 2 decimal places, so that'll be 12.10 for my answer here. So 12.10 is going to be my diameter. Looking at this finally, then we just want our units, and same fashion as before, our area was centimeters squared. The diameter is now a length, but will otherwise have the same type of unit, so it's going to be centimeters.